Mr. Speaker, first of all, on a short point of order, I would like to thank you as Speaker. I would like to thank the staff of the legislature, including the Legislative Council and all the others who've played such an important part in making this chamber work. And I would like to thank all the members of this chamber for their collective contributions to the well-being of Manitoba. Okay. Now, on my question, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, during this session, I've emphasized improving the well-being of children and families because these are important and because, quite frankly, this government has done such a poor job in this area. My observations have been validated by a report released this week by the Independent Broadbent Institute, which provided a detailed analysis using many of the well-being markers that I have talked about. The report found that Manitoba, as a result of 14 years of NDP government, has now the lowest ranking of all the provinces in terms of social well-being. Instead of the Premier listing all of his ineffective programs, can he tell us why he's failed to improve the social well-being of Manitobans?
Thank you very much, and I thank the member for that question. One of the things that you come to know, I think all of us in elected life, is that we are confronted by some very serious problems in our province, in our society. And those problems have been with us sometimes for hundreds of years. Sometimes they have their root in decisions that were made before any of us were elected. And what we have tried to do as a government is take a hard look at those problems and put in place strategies and plans and policies that work with people in nonprofit organizations, that work with people in communities, that work with people in Aboriginal communities, that work with people in all parts of our province to work together to have a province that's more just and more equal. Part of that is better funding for things like education. We know that education is one of the great equalizers. That's why every year we've been in government, even when the economy was difficult, we have ensured that schools are funded at the rate of economic growth. And we will continue to do that, despite the advice that we get from the Leader of the Official Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, education is good, but it's not enough. In the Broadbent Institute report, Manitoba fares poorly on infant mortality rates, on life expectancy, on high levels of violent behavior. As I have pointed out this session, major nutritional deficiencies in our province, in vitamin D and omega-3 fatty acids, contribute to these problems in Manitoba. In 14 years of this NDP's long list of programs, this government in the 21st century has made no measurable progress on decreasing these nutritional deficiencies. I asked the Deputy Premier, by what date will her government have eliminated the nutritional deficiencies in Manitobans, or does this government not really believe in setting measurable targets?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And I'd like to let all members of the Legislative Assembly know that we've been working on this for many years. The whole idea about having appropriate nutrition in schools was tackled first in our first term, and we moved forward on a school nutrition policy. The whole idea about getting partnerships to make sure that people have appropriate nutrition has been and will remain a priority of this government. Things like the healthy food clubs, things like farm to school, nourishing potential. We have made an investment with the Winnipeg Foundation where there's millions of dollars that are now there that will last forever. And why that's important is that programs will be funded not just now, but forever. Because people, businesses, the government, and other organizations are committed to making sure people have appropriate nutrition. And on this side of the House, we vote for those funds, we commit for those funds, and we believe we can work together to make nutrition, vitamin A, vitamin
Order,
D,
please.
and
The minister's time has expired.
Mr. Speaker, the government may have been working on this for many years, but they haven't achieved much in the way of results.
Right.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes, Senator.
when it comes to the well-being of children and families, I've highlighted systemic gaps in child and family services, problems in our emergency rooms, and the diabetes epidemic in our province. Effective action starting in 1999 could have prevented up to 30,000 Manitobans from getting diabetes. But this problem is so ineffective and hopeless in addressing the epidemic that the number of Manitobans with diabetes has doubled to reach about 100,000. I asked the Deputy Premier, by what date will her government implement the effective changes to reverse the diabetes epidemic, the longest and the largest epidemic in the history of our province?
Mr. Speaker, when I was first appointed the first Healthy Living Minister in Canada and focused on prevention, one of the first things we did was we made a commitment to activity and exercise, which involved investments to recreational facilities, which involved commitment for a K-12 physical fitness curriculum in schools, which involved the commitment to increase the physical activity level by 10% in 10 years. As I mentioned to the Chamber yesterday, we've increased the physical activity level from 10% in 7 years and led the nation. I'd also like to let the member know that some of the programs, like the Child Nutrition Council Manitoba, actually reaches 170 schools and 160,000 students a year. That is true commitment, and that's true expansion. And what I'd like to let the member know is it's not in the medical
Please,
system
the
that
minister's time has expired.